take the NBA player or people who struggle in their environment. For example, I mean, at the end of the day, you also get to shape yourself. That's one thing that I feel like when a sociopath doesn't have a lack of a self-esteem, but they have the opposite, like an extreme amount of narcissism, and they're just extremely vain, and they just are delusional, and they think the world revolves around them, and I could do anything. The one benefit of that is that where someone might doubt themselves, or like, I don't know, man, they are already going. They're so delusional and skewed. They have such a skewed sense of selves. They don't even sit there and think about the shit you worried about. Or mind you, and I'm saying me personally as well. I remember when I was thinking about dropping my first video, I was like, I don't know, but blah, blah, blah. Now, obviously, I drove myself to do it. Or things that I've thought about and questioned in life. And when you do research on these, like the drive and tunnel vision they have, they don't give a fuck. And you don't need to go all the way deep into that level of like fucked up person. But that's an extreme version of self-belief. When you really think about it, it's like self-belief on steroids. Like, I believe in myself. Now, do you have to think that you're the most important person in the world over everybody in human lives, or like ants? You don't have to go like that. But it is important to believe in yourself. It really is. It really is important to look at something and say, I can be that. Fuck motivation. Any given day, I appreciate the 3 months, man. Dojo to the moon, man. Like,
Dojo to the moon. New moon.
It is a life-changing thing when you can sit here and be in a current situation that doesn't look successful, that doesn't look monumental and big, and you can sit here and tell yourself, I can be great. Now we call that motivation and shit like that, but it's really a call. It's like a call to greatness, bro. It's like a will to be. And we can get out of the conversation of sociopaths. We can talk about some phenomenal people who weren't sociopaths, who have had that level of drive. Like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson. I mean, Mike Tyson, I'm not going to lie, he might be crazy. He might be crazy. But when you look at Mike Tyson, right, and how he thinks, and his old trainer, Cus D'Amato, and how they talk about champions and top level fighters. And he said, a top fighter, the physical aspect of fighting is 10% of boxing. The other percent of it is 90%. I'm telling you, I used to watch Mike Tyson's old trainer, Cus D'Amato. Do your homework on him, bro. And the heavyweight champions he's trained, and how he used to have Mike Tyson up here mentally. It really is. Everything is mental, bro. I was watching that shit, bro. And I lie to you not. My life has literally changed just based on the mental work that you do on yourself. Now, mind you, what's wrong with the average person? The average person is so distracted, they cannot get intimate enough to do this mental work. But I wasn't on that. This kind of was happening or came perfectly timed with like the end of my high school years when I was more focused than ever. And then quarantine at that same time. And even now, like where I'm focused and I have a level between myself where I'm like, I know where the right mental space is. Now, mind you, listen, when you work on your mental, bro, properly, not motivation. Let's talk about specific shit. Like when you do the mental work to understand yourself, when you say what's important to me? Like genuinely, I had a Patreon call with a guy. Like he came to the call, he's like, Ty, I'm undisciplined, I'm unfocused, I'm inconsistent. How the fuck can you be disciplined when you don't have a goal? You have no direction. What will you be disciplined for? It just doesn't make sense. You putting the cart before the horse. When you do the mental work, get your vision right, or at least to a point where like you like, okay, this is what I want. This is what I think I want. This is what you aim at something. Now you could be disciplined. Now you could be focused. Now you could be driven. But you got to get the direction. You got to get the vision right first. You got, and mind you, going back to Cus D'Amato and Mike Tyson's trainer, the shit that's really stuck with me, I never forget he said this. He said, what's the difference between a coward and a hero? Or a coward and a person that is courageous? And he was like, nothing. Nothing. There's no difference between those two men. Cooling by the bay, I appreciate the 25 months. Right? This was his thing. He's like, there's no difference between a coward and a courageous hero. The only difference is the actions that the coward makes identifies him with that of a coward, and the actions that the courageous man hero makes identifies him with that of a hero. And what the realization I had when thinking about that statement was that we put so much of ourselves on what we think and all this shit, but we don't really focus on our actions. How are my actions defining me? Where are my actions leaning me towards? And when you go back to your actions, you're not overthinking. I'm not overthinking. I'm like, man, I'm about to do this shit because I'm a hustler. I'm a grinder. I'm a motherfucker who's locked in. That's it. I'm not trying to think, man, what should I do with my day? How am I feeling? No, I'm just doing that shit. I'm not even like, there's no thinking in a good work ethic because you're just going. You're just boom, 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 boom. Your momentum is just moving. You're not really spending a lot of time thinking. You have it figured out. You're just driving what you have figured out. But if you didn't figure it out or you didn't spend much time thinking about that, like, you know what? I'm going to run this bag up. I'm going to start this business. You can't expect yourself to be driven if you have no direction. That direction has to come first. Another thing he said, and then I never forgot this quote. He said, in life, I need to just find the quote, bro. I need to find the quote. It's like in life, you can have almost anything if you prepare to mentally accept. I forgot how that shit go. But it was so on point, bro. And that was one of his biggest things, bro. He said, bro, a boxer, and this guy done train champions. Boxing is 10% of his physical. I got the clip right here.
Psychologist. In life, you can absorb almost anything if you are able to anticipate it and prepare psychologically to accept it. Scientist. I never allowed myself to be influenced by people unless they influence me with facts. Disciplinarian. Discipline enables a person to do that which needs to be done, which is also like
I never forgot this quote.
No matter how he feels with them. And fight trader.
I said I never forgot the quote, and then I didn't want to scramble it, but I was kind of close. I was kind of close, bro. Bro, I'm telling you, that Stoic philosophy, especially when you're in the grind and you trying to do shit, bro, it's very important. Your mentality has to match your work ethic because otherwise you're not going to be prepared for the type of shit you're going to deal with. A loss. You're not going to be prepared for a loss. You're going to crumble and quit. You're going you're not going to be able to prepare for a bad result. Your mentality is the only thing that helps you with that shit.